I have a word for you, and the word is, don't let your situation become your name. There are people whose names have become their situation. They are no longer referred to with their birth names, but it's their situation, it is their condition. An example, it is in the scriptures. The woman with the issue of blood, that was not her name. It is her condition that took over her name. And the scripture says that for many years she had that condition. She sought for help. She went from one doctor, from one healer to another healer, and it could not work out. And her name lost significance because her condition took her name. Another person is blind Bartimaeus. His name was the condition. Don't let your condition become your name, because it is something dangerous. Even the lepers, there were men who were lepers. It was no longer their name that was referred to them, but it was just the condition that took over the name. A name is very important. And it's very important that you have a name that will represent you, because if you have a wrong name, it will affect you, it will manipulate you, it will control your destiny. Why do you think Jesus himself had to change the name of Simon to Peter? His name was Simon. And Jesus changed his name to Peter, meaning that upon this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail. For Peter to have victory in the early church, his name had to be changed, because Simon would not work for him. Simon was a name that limited him. Maybe it limited him to his profession. Because remember, Peter was a fisherman. When God called him, he was a fisherman. He was by the lake, by the sea. And he said, no longer shall you be fishers. No longer shall you be a fisherman, but you shall be a fisher of men. You shall fish men. Your name is very important. Jacob's name was changed from Jacob to Israel, because if he had continued with Jacob, he would not have inherited what God had put in store for him. Look at where Israel as a nation is. It came out of one man, Jacob. Abraham had to change his name from Abram to Abraham. A name is very important. That's why the name Jesus is above every name. Scripture says, for God has highly exalted his name above his word. And another scripture says, God has given him a name that is above every name. So that means if the name Jesus is above every name, is above cancer, it is above your sickness, it is above cysts, it is above high blood pressure, it is above your condition, it is above poverty. If the name Jesus is above every name, that means there are some names that are below it. Maybe Simon is below it. That's why a name is very important. The message is, do not allow your condition to become your name. In your neighborhood, there are people that are referring you There are people who call you by your condition. Do not allow it. Do not allow it to be associated with you. Do not allow your children to be called by that condition. In the previous video, I talked about Hosea, who married a prostitute Gomer. And one thing about Hosea is that his children were given names based on a certain situation, a certain condition. Their names were representative of something that was happening. So do not allow your name or do not allow your condition to take over your name. There is a reason as to why you're called by that name. There is a very big reason. Do not even just allow nicknames, because nicknames also can work against you. And I always encourage people to read the scriptures for themselves so that they may see these things, so that they may be delivered from the enemy. It is the scripture that will help you out. It is the scripture that will guide you. The scripture is your light. Do not seek light elsewhere. The world will never give you the light that you seek for. In fact, the scripture says that you are the light of the world. But you find some people are seeking out for other lights. They are seeking out for knowledge that is demonic. And yet, God has placed in them the ability to make, the ability to command. That faith that is small as a mustard seed can move mountains. It can move your condition. It can wipe away that condition that has been consuming your name, that has taken over your life, that has brought you in misery. Somebody is rising up right now as I speak. You are being set free. You are being set free right now. Well, I hope this word has been a blessing to you. I hope it has encouraged you. And continue commenting. Leave your comment behind. Leave your testimonies behind. Let somebody know. Scripture says in the book of Revelations that they overcame you by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony. For you to overcome your enemy, to overcome your condition, there are two things that you require. It is the blood of the Lamb. And who's the Lamb? The Lamb is Jesus. Then the last thing is your testimony. How many times have you testified? No matter how small the testimony could be, just go ahead and do it. Because you do not know the power of a testimony. Some of you do not know that your testimony could be so small, but to somebody who's listening to it, it is something big. It gives them hope. All right, I'm running out of time. And I hope to see you next time. Be blessed.